Erwin Smith, the Colossal Titan. This was never supposed to exist, but one decision changed everything. Erwin dedicated his entire life to one question, a question that got his father killed, a question that sent hundreds of soldiers to their deaths. On the rooftops of Shiganshina, he was seconds away from finally getting his answer, but Levi let him die. In this timeline, he didn't. Shiganshina is burning. The rooftops are covered in ash and blood. The Beast Titan has been defeated. Bertholdt lies unconscious somewhere below, and right now in this exact moment, Levi Ackerman holds the future of humanity in his hands. A single injection, one dose. 2 dying soldiers. Behind him, Armin, burned beyond recognition. A boy who outsmarted the Colossal Titan and paid for it with his body. In front of him, Erwin Smith, the commander who just led a final charge against certain death. The man who convinced soldiers to give their hearts knowing they would never come back. In the original timeline, Levi sees that small movement of Erwin's arm, that unconscious gesture that seems to say, "Let me rest." And Levi, the man who has followed Erwin into hell more times than anyone, decides to let him rest. But in this timeline, Levi sees something else. He sees 30 years of sacrifice about to be wasted. He sees the one mind capable of navigating what comes next slipping away. And he makes a choice that will haunt him forever. Right now, Levi is condemning his best friend to keep fighting a war he was finally about to escape. Erwin's scream cuts through the smoke of Shiganshina. It's not pain, it's something far worse. It's the sound of a man being ripped away from peace and thrown back into chaos against his will. His body expands. Steam explodes from flesh that was seconds away from going cold forever. The pure titan that rises over Shiganshina isn't mindless like the others. There's something behind those enormous eyes: recognition, awareness, and fury. Bertholdt sees it coming. The Colossal Titan shifter. The man who kicked down Wall Maria 5 years ago. The reason Erwin's father was executed for knowing too much. The reason thousands of people died inside those walls. There's a cruel justice in what happens next. Bertholdt started this nightmare, and now his power passes to the one man capable of ending it. Steam clears. Erwin Smith opens his eyes. He's alive. He has the power of the Colossal Titan. The same power that destroyed his world now belongs to him. But here's the detail everyone forgets. When Erwin looks down, he sees something he hasn't seen in over a year. His right arm complete, fully regenerated. Titan shifters heal everything. And for a moment, just a moment, Erwin flexes fingers he thought he'd lost forever. The arm that was torn away by a Titan is back. But there's no time to process it, because 13 years from now, this power will kill him. And before that happens, Erwin Smith has work to do. 3 days later, Erwin stands in front of a door. Not just any door. The basement of the Jaeger house. The answer to the question that has consumed his entire existence since he was a child. His father once asked a simple question in a classroom. What if the history we've been told is a lie? That question got him killed, and Erwin has spent 30 years trying to find out why. This door, this basement. His hand doesn't shake when he opens it, but it should. A photograph. People smiling, dressed in clothes that don't exist inside the walls, standing in front of buildings that shouldn't be possible, technology that surpasses anything Paradis has ever seen. Erwin's father was right. Everything was a lie. Humanity didn't almost go extinct. There's an entire world out there. Cities, nations, millions of people who have been living normal lives while everyone inside the walls believed they were the last humans alive. Grisha Jaeger's journals confirm everything. Marley, Eldia, the Titan curse, a war that started 2,000 years ago, a world that fears and hates everyone on this island, an empire that uses Titans as weapons and sees Eldians as devils that need to be exterminated. Here's what makes this moment different from the original timeline. When Armin learned this truth, he saw possibility. New lands to explore, enemies who might become friends, a world of infinite potential waiting beyond that ocean. Erwin sees something completely different. He sees patterns, strategic positions, resources, weaknesses, military capabilities. 30 years of war don't disappear because you learn the truth. They become context. Data for the next campaign. Armin was a tactician, brilliant at solving immediate problems, finding solutions in the middle of chaos. Erwin is a strategist. He doesn't think about the next battle, he thinks about the next decade. And right now, the greatest strategic mind Paradis has ever produced is analyzing an enemy that has been preparing to destroy them for 100 years. The return to the walls changes everything. In the original timeline, Hanji takes command of the Survey Corps. She's brilliant, passionate, but she's a scientist at heart, not a military strategist. And Armin, despite his genius, is a 15-year-old boy carrying trauma he hasn't begun to process. Erwin walks into the command room and takes his seat like he never left. The difference is immediate. Hanji presents the same information, the same threats, the same impossible odds, but the response is completely different. Where Hanji would hesitate and seek more information, Erwin decides. Where Armin would consider peaceful options, Erwin prepares for war. Not because he wants conflict, but because 30 years of experience have taught him one absolute truth. The enemy doesn't negotiate with with people they consider devils. Here's what most people don't understand about Erwin Smith. He wasn't just good at strategy, he was pathologically paranoid. Every alliance was a potential betrayal, every offer was a potential trap, every friend could become an enemy. In the original timeline, Marley infiltrates Paradis with the wine conspiracy. Zeke poisons the military leadership with spinal fluid, turning dozens of soldiers into ticking time bombs. Hange doesn't see it coming. Armin suspects something but can't prove it. Erwin would have seen it immediately. Not because he's smarter than them, but because he trusts no one. He assumes betrayal by default, and a man who led a fatal charge while suspecting his own government of conspiracy doesn't let a single bottle of foreign wine enter military hands without knowing exactly where it came from. The wine trap never happens. Zeke's plan fails before it begins. And then there's Eren. In the original timeline, Armin and Mikasa treat Eren like a friend until it's too late. They see his changes, they notice his distance, but they can't bring themselves to treat him as a threat because they love him. Erwin doesn't have that problem. He sees Eren the same way he sees everyone, as a variable in a larger equation. And when that variable starts acting unpredictably, Erwin doesn't hope for the best. He plans for the worst. Eren is monitored. His movements are tracked. His contacts are documented, not because Erwin suspects anything specific, but because the founding Titan is too dangerous to leave unwatched. This is the fundamental difference between a tactician and a strategist. Armin reacts to problems. Erwin prevents them from happening. The scouts ride west. For the first time in 100 years, humans from inside the walls will touch salt water. The symbol of freedom. The dream that Armin talked about since childhood. The horizon that seemed impossible for so long is finally within reach. Mikasa is the first to dismount. Then Jean. Connie and Sasha run toward the water like children, splashing each other, laughing, tasting salt on their lips for the first time. Eren stands at the edge, his eyes fixed on the horizon, and there's something dark in his expression that no one else seems to notice. And then there's Erwin. He walks slowly, deliberately. His boots sink into wet sand. The waves reach his feet and he stops. This should be victory, the dream fulfilled, the question answered, the ocean reached. But Erwin doesn't take off his boots. He doesn't run into the water. He doesn't celebrate. He calculates. Across that water is Marley. Beyond that horizon are battleships being built, soldiers being trained, weapons being developed specifically to exterminate everyone on this island. The world has had 100 years to prepare for this moment. 100 years to advance their technology while Paradis was trapped behind walls. 100 years to turn global hatred against Eldians into military doctrine. And Erwin Smith, standing at the edge of the ocean with salt water touching his boots, isn't thinking about how beautiful the view is. He's thinking about how difficult it will be to defend this coastline. He's thinking about invasion routes, naval capabilities, strategic choke points. Here's the tragedy that everyone misses when they debate Erwin versus Armin. Armin would have stood here and seen infinite possibility, new friends, new knowledge, a chance for peace. And that hope, that beautiful innocent hope, would have been crushed the moment Marley's fleet appeared on the horizon. Erwin doesn't have hope. He has 30 years of watching hope get people killed, and maybe that's exactly what Paradis needed, because Armin was the dreamer humanity wanted, but Erwin might be the commander humanity needed. The ocean was supposed to be the end. For Erwin Smith, it's just the beginning. 6 months pass. Paradis is no longer the island that lived in fear behind walls for a century. Erwin has spent every single day since the ocean preparing for a war that most people still don't believe is coming. The difference between Erwin and every commander before him is simple. He doesn't wait for the enemy to make the first move. He makes them react to him. 3 weeks after inheriting the Colossal Titan, Erwin stands alone in an empty field outside Wall Rose. No soldiers, no witnesses, just him and the power he never asked for. The bite, the lightning, the explosion of steam that reaches the clouds. And then Erwin Smith sees the world from 60 meters above the ground. From up here, he can see troop movements from kilometers away. He can count supply wagons. He can identify weak points in fortifications that would be invisible from the ground. The Colossal Titan isn't just a weapon. It's the ultimate way to see everything. And the heat, steam radiates from his body in waves. In winter, when Marley expects Paradis to be immobilized by cold, the Colossal Titan can march through blizzards like they don't exist. This power wasn't designed for destruction, it was designed for war, and Erwin Smith has spent 30 years mastering war. Eren's transformation happens gradually. His friends notice the change but convince themselves it's temporary. Erwin notices something different. He notices patterns. Eren asking questions about the founding Titan's power. Eren spending hours alone with Historia. Eren's sudden interest in his father's memories. The attack Titan can see future memories. And a Titan that can see the future, combined with a soldier whose hatred grows darker every day, is not a weapon. It's a threat. Eren never escapes to Marley, because Erwin doesn't trust anyone. When Yelena's people attempt to distribute the tainted wine, they find that their shipments have been replaced. Zeke's insurance policy is worthless before it begins. This is the difference between trusting and verifying. Hanji trusted. Erwin verifies always. Zeke arrives, the Beast Titan, the man who threw rocks that killed hundreds of Survey Corps soldiers. Erwin remembers every soldier who died that day. He remembers leading them forward anyway, and now the man responsible is standing in front of him offering an alliance. Zeke explains his euthanization plan, the peaceful extinction of the Eldian race. Erwin refuses immediately. Zeke is arrested. His spinal fluid is extracted. The Beast Titan's power is neutralized. 18 months later, Marley's fleet appears on the horizon. 32 warships, the largest naval force assembled in decades. Cannons capable of piercing Titan armor. Soldiers trained specifically for this invasion. Intelligence reports said Paradis had no navy, no coastal defenses, no way to stop a seaborne assault. The reports were wrong. A single figure stands on the beach, too far to identify, too still to be a threat. And then lightning strikes from a clear sky. The explosion of steam is visible from 20 kilometers away. When the steam clears, every sailor on every ship falls silent. 60 meters of burning muscle and bone stands at the water's edge. But this Colossal is different. This one stands with military precision. This one is scanning the fleet with eyes that are thinking instead of just being angry. Armin used the Colossal Titan like a bomb. Transform, destroy, and retreat. Erwin uses it like a general uses artillery. Precise, deliberate, terrifying, not because of what it does, but because of what it could do. The Titan doesn't attack, it waits, and that waiting is worse than any assault. On the beach behind the Colossal, Survey Corps soldiers emerge from hidden positions. Not many, a few hundred. But they're organized, disciplined, and you can hear them chanting. The Marleyan Navy don't understand the language, but they understand the tone. It's not a battle cry, it's a promise. The fleet turns back. 32 warships are backing away from just one man standing on a beach. And word is getting out everywhere. Paradis has a demon. Not the mindless kind roaming outside the walls. The thinking kind. The kind that plans. The kind that waits. The kind that lets you run so you can tell everyone what you saw. Erwin returns to human form on the beach. If he destroys their fleet, they build another one. If he destroys their soldiers, they train more. But fear travels faster than any weapon. By tomorrow, every nation on this planet will know that Paradis can't be invaded by sea. That's worth more than 32 burning ships. The meeting happens in a small room. No guards, just them. Two Titan shifters discussing the future of their kind. Eren knows about the rumbling. He's seen the future. The walls contain millions of Colossal Titans. Total annihilation. The only solution that guarantees safety. Erwin listens, and then he asks one question. What happens after the world is dead? What do they eat when the trade routes are gone? What do they become when the only identity they have is survivor? Eren doesn't have an answer. Erwin has spent 30 years thinking about what happens after. The rumbling would save Paradis, and it would destroy everything that makes Paradis worth saving. The plan takes 3 years. It's not genocide, it's not extinction, it's selective demonstration. Enough Colossal Titans activate to make the world understand. They march toward Marley, they stop at the border. They stand there, millions of tons of burning flesh, and they wait. Erwin's message broadcasts across every radio frequency. We don't want war. You forced this. Now you see what we could do if we chose to. The Titans return to the walls, not with billions dead, but with a demonstration that changes everything. Erwin doesn't live to see the end. 13 years after Shiganshina, the curse claims him, but in his final moments standing on a balcony overlooking an island that is no longer hiding, he finally understands. His father was right. The truth was worth finding. The ocean stretches before him, ships carry diplomats from nations that used to call his people devils. His right hand rests on the railing, the hand he lost and got back. The hand that signed treaties instead of death warrants. For the first time in 30 years, Erwin has nothing left to sacrifice. The question that killed his father, the question that drove him through hell, he finally knows it was worth it. Every death, every choice, every soldier who gave their heart. The world is still broken. The future is still uncertain, but his people are alive. And for Erwin Smith, that was always enough. Personally, I believe Erwin was the only one who could have saved Paradis without destroying the world, but at the cost of turning the island into a fortress for the rest of history. What alternate timeline do you want to see next? Let me know in the comments.